Still here.
How are you?
Good. Possibly.
Yeah.
Long sleeves.
Let's sing the gathering song number 403. I will play through it and we'll sing it once.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to all of you who are here with us face to face, and also a special welcome to all those who are joining us online. We're glad that everyone is here, however you are here with us. And a special welcome as well to our visitors today. My name is Bryan. For those of you who don't know me, my pronouns are he, him. And just a couple of announcements, and then I'll open up the floor for other announcements that may be needing to be shared. One is that next Sunday is Rally Sunday, which, just as a reminder, that's like Bring a Friend to Church Sunday. So feel free to invite whomever and bring them with joy. And, you know, we just want to welcome everybody to sort of, like, I guess, be the first service of the church year, kind of retro from the first 3 weeks. So a lot of churches have Rally Sunday the first Sunday after Labor Day, but we extend it to give us time to warm up, or cool down, as the case may be. So feel free to do that. Also, after the service on Sunday at 1:30 in the afternoon, we are opening up our brand new farm. Well, it's not new. It's new to us, and so everyone is welcome to our open house and harvest festival at 1:30. If you're interested, we'd love for you to RSVP if possible. You can just tell me, and that way we can make sure we have enough of, guess what, treats available for everyone. And we'll also be giving farm tours, and I'll be doing a little talking to everyone and treats. Did I say that already? All right.
And music.
Oh, and music. Oh,
And chickens.
and chickens, yes. And a new puppy, and so much more. But yes, we'll have some music. We're going to have a little fire. And even my real estate agent and the mortgage person are going to be there just to help celebrate. So there's a lot of people coming in the local community there. Originally, it was for us, but then, you know, we're radically hospitable and we welcome everyone. So we're looking forward to that. If you need the address or anything, just see me, and I just happened to bring, oh, that's my bank card. You don't know. I think they're in the car. I have some business cards with the address on them, so you can't have my bank card. Then what I want to do is kind of talk about today. So today we have Water Ceremony Sunday. And this is typically an annual activity, ritual, where people are invited to bring some water from a source that means something to you, even the tap. And then at a certain part of the service, which is going to be after my presentation today, instead of the typical congregational reflection time, you'll be invited to come and pour water into the punch bowl a little bit, and then at the end, we're going to take the water and pour it into the earth. But it is a symbolic ritual for us to come together in unity. You're also invited, you can do it silently, but you're invited to share a story about why that water is important, or just a story of something. And then if you didn't bring any water, don't worry. There's some water in this little pitcher up here. So feel free to come up and pour some water from the pitcher, because all water is awesome and every drop of water matters. So there's that. I just want to also take a moment and say we had an autumnal equinox service on Friday, which was very fulfilling for me, and I hope that it was meaningful for those of you that could come. But I just want to mention today is the actual autumnal equinox. So today begins the great season of fall, and it's really weird because as I was driving here from our farm, I did notice a change in the color on the leaves, which I didn't really notice last week, which is kind of interesting how that just works out. Any other announcements? Alice.
As usual, so I would like, after service today, instead of getting rid of all the chairs, save a few and make a little circle. We tried that once before and then we kind of abandoned that habit, but I'd like to try it again. You know, if it makes people happy, let's keep doing it.
Awesome. Thank you, Alice. Any other announcements?
Oh, I guess I'll make one. Tuesday at the Y in Burnsville, the YMCA in Burnsville, I'm doing a sound healing demo at the Y. It's at 1 o'clock till 1:30, and it's free for anyone who wants to come.
Thank you. The last thing I mention is that we don't take an offering during our service, but we do have a basket in the back, and we also have a couple ways, if you feel moved to do so, to give to us on our website. So if you have questions about the giving on the website, you can see Alice as well. So we just don't like to pass the basket. So there you go. It's in the back in case you want to move it. All right. With that, I invite us all to take a nice, slow, deep breath. Center ourselves as much as we possibly can. Separate ourselves from the chaos of all of that around us as much as we possibly can do. And meditate during this musical prelude. I invite you to remain seated so we can all see the screen, but to join me in our opening words and in the lighting of the chalice. Water is soft, and yet it is persistent.
Water
flows and takes the shape of the boundaries it is given.
Yet over time, water, in her persistence, she can carve through mountains.
When
When
you
you try to drag water, you just get wet. But if you can stop grabbing at her,
She will hold you up, and you can float and even swim.
water under pressure cleans dirt off houses and can cut diamonds.
Water raging can overflow the bounds put upon her. She can drown whole towns, flood freeways.
She can put out fires and save lives.
So contradictory, both soft and hard.
Never dominant or submissive, water sustains, gives, and yields to life.
Therefore, in the spirit of the wondrous majesty of water, we light this chalice together and say,
May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal with love, to help with compassion, to bless with joy, to serve you, Spirit of freedom, in the fullness of community.
And now I invite you to rise as you are able and join us in our opening hymn, number 136, 136.
This is sort of new. I don't think we've done this one before, so I'm going to play through it for you. 1, 2, 3.
In each one of our Sunday morning meetings, we now share a moment of beloved community. And I will say before I read this, that I composed this from a bunch of different sources, and it is a very poignant statement in my household. So, let's hope I can get through it. Okay. That's not a good place to start. All right. Dakota Unitarian Universalist Church affirms that Black lives absolutely do matter. We strive continuously to understand more thoroughly that individual and systematic racism must actively be confronted and eliminated for there to be equality, peace, and justice in the nation, and in fact, throughout the entire world. We are working to realize and combat white privilege and other elements of elitism, marginalization, through our ongoing relationships that we build in this faith group, and just as importantly, outside these walls within the larger community. The Black Lives Matter movement reminds us that we are called as a congregation and as a society to honor the dignity and worth of every human being, which is a fundamental principle of Unitarian Universalism. We also remind ourselves that all Black lives matter. Queer Black lives, trans Black lives, formerly incarcerated Black lives, addicted Black lives, differently abled Black lives, Black women's lives, immigrant Black lives, Black elderly, and children's lives. Furthermore, it is a part of our commitment to uncover the layer of white supremacy that exists in this society and bring to light the anti-Blackness that is present in our everyday lives right here in our midst. Dakota UU's vision is based on the world we want and not the world we are currently in. We seek to transform, not simply to react. We want people to thrive, not just exist, and to think beyond the possible. May it be so. And now, I invite us into that time when we can come forward and share joys and concerns, if you feel moved to do so, and you may light a candle from the chalice, if you would like. And then at the end, for those unspoken joys and concerns, I'll light a final candle.
What do you want to do? She's Kathy today. Represent Bama, who's not here. Yeah. Was that why he's on the move? Because Bama? Okay.
She's probably at her choir.
She's listening.
Actually, I'm here speaking from above. Sorry.
Kathy, is it you?
The voice of God.
Thank you, Bell Bell. I also have a joy. One of our newer members, Lore, gave me a call this morning and we chatted for a while, and they asked me to light a candle for them.
Another one for our family concerns. Megan, our daughter, our granddaughter, and her husband Ed are all at home sick for the last few days, so hopefully they get better. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I also know that.
Yesterday was our daughter Jennifer's 45th birthday.
Or what?
45th.
I thought you said 25th. That was really
Yeah, I wish. I'm only 46, so.
birthdays. This is for our daughter Kristen. She had her 59th birthday on the 14th. And another candle for friends who are going through a lot right now. Sue Crosby, one, and another one, Peggy, she's just getting way isolated. So this time of year, I hope she can reach out and enjoy how beautiful it is.
So this should come as no surprise to everybody who knows us. We added even more chickens to the flock.
How many do you have?
Well over 100.
We've entered the time of chicken math, which is somewhere over 100. We don't count.
I have a joy. My daughter
ahead.
Holly. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. My daughter Holly will be speaking tomorrow morning at the UN Science Symposium in New York City.
Wow. That's awesome.
And we have a joy that you're with us today.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I have a joy. I recently joined a band singing chanting music. I play violin there, and it's a call response. It's a fun concert we just had yesterday, and we have another one on October. There's a flyer on the if you're interested. So, and that band gave me opportunity to improvise, and also inspired by Kathleen.
I'm sort of forcing her.
Yeah, inspiration happens
Gentle
all different
forcing,
ways.
yeah,
Yes.
Light a candle for that.
Exactly, I will do that.
Baby sounds.
Yeah. It's either stepping on my stole or burning it, right? Okay, well, this candle is going to be for two things, completely unrelated. But first, not only did we add more chickens, but thanks to Megan, Kathy and Jim's daughter, we have 2 cats now as well. And then also, before service today, I was speaking with someone about how a visitor came not long ago and said that they just love the vibe of this congregation. And you know what? So do I. I love you all. I made it through that one too. And now I will light a final candle for all those joys and concerns that remain unspoken. May we know that whatever befalls us in life, we are held in the loving embrace of this community. And now we say together for all of these joys and concerns, both spoken and unspoken,
We hold you in our hearts.
I invite you to hear this reading by Tim Atkins, a Unitarian Universalist Religious Education Director. It's called To Be Resilient. It begins with a quote that he uses by Louis Pasteur. "Let me tell you the secret that has led me to my goal. My strength lies solely in my tenacity." So Tim writes, "When I was a child in Georgia, we took a field trip to a nature center called Oxbow Meadows. At the time, I didn't know what an oxbow was. I just knew I totally loved the name. Later on in life, I learned that as a river flows, it will erode the banks over time. What might start off as a little divot erodes and erodes until it forms the classic river bend. Oxbow refers to this kind of U-shaped bend in the river, and an oxbow lake is when the river has eroded the bank of the bend to the point where it cuts off from the main stream. Think of it like cutting a line across the top of a U. Well, what happens to the bottom of the U that is no longer getting access to the running waters of the river? It becomes an oxbow lake." There are so many spiritual lessons from the natural world, and in a season filled with ingatherings and water communions, this is one for me. Oxbow lakes as a beautiful combination of resiliency, strength, and flexibility. It takes a long time for an oxbow to fully form into an oxbow lake. The water doesn't care, it just keeps going. If there's something in the way, water will bump up against it and then go around it. If water was too rigid, it wouldn't be able to flow down the banks of a river. But we all know about the strength of water too. Water can do incredible things, incredibly beautiful things, and incredibly destructive things. Running water can be the strongest force in our natural world, breaking down rocks, digging out Grand Canyons, swallowing an entire island. It's this strength that helps water erode the walls of the river, eventually forming the oxbow. We often think that strength and flexibility are opposite sides of the coin. But when they are united with resiliency, you can literally move the earth. Resiliency united with strength and flexibility creates beauty in the world and creates new spaces for life to flourish. In this time in my life, at this time in our history, I need this kind of oxbow resiliency more than ever. May we all have oxbow strength, carving through mountains, determined to change. May we all have oxbow flexibility, bending around the curves, overcoming all obstacles. May we all have oxbow faith moving forward. So, some of you know that I have started this weekly blog, and it's just a way for me to connect with people other than just sitting here and gabbing in front of you on Sunday morning. And also, I do speak to a lot of you over the course of the week for various reasons, but I figured, I'd offer that, and to the council seemed to be pretty excited about it. And so every Wednesday morning, my blog, at some point on Wednesday morning, maybe early Wednesday afternoon, depending on which time zone you're in, my blog becomes available. And this most recent one I wrote about this water ceremony Sunday, which in some congregations they call Water Communion Sunday. But I'm going to diverge from what I wrote about and talk about what I feel could be helpful in weaving the story to the next journey, the next leg of the journey, the next twist of the plot for Dakota UU. As we pour our waters together this morning, a little bit later, one of the things that I believe that it symbolizes, and many of you will also directly share a snippet of, is our story. Because together we are authoring a collective story, but that collective story wouldn't be a thing if we didn't have our own individual stories, our familial stories, our experiences, whether they be experiences that were less than what we wanted, or less than something that made us happy, and experiences on the other extreme, and everything in between. Our stories as individuals then come together, just like the pouring of the water, not to disappear and dissipate into something completely different, because the water that we pour together came from a source that will continue. But then we create a whole new collective reservoir of water made of our stories. In sharing our stories and creating a collective story for the future in this congregation really come about because it just needs to happen. But what do you mean, Bryan, it just needs to happen? Well, because we as human beings, even if we live a life of an ascetic, like alone somewhere for the rest of our lives or part of it, we are all products of community. We all are here because at least two people came together. I mean, it's not hard to argue with science, like, right? I'm just joking. It is hard to argue with science, in my opinion. And so this community that I love so much, that people like the vibe here, I would say that our stories and sharing those stories not only need to happen, but this is why. One, our stories connect us. When we share our stories, and we have lots and lots of stories, maybe I have more than the average person to share, but probably not. I think we all have almost limitless amounts of stories that we can share. And in the act of sharing, we connect with people because sometimes, yes, they do overlap with other people's stories, but when people listen to us and our stories, they are forever changed. They can't unlearn that. They can't unhear that. You can't unring a bell. So people are forever changed. We are connected. We get to know each other more intimately, spiritually, intellectually, and lovingly. Connection is so very important because the things that we can do together are much greater than the things that we can do alone. Community is the essence of our being. And I'm not feel like I'm preaching to the choir, ha ha ha, because you wouldn't be here if you didn't appreciate and thrive and desire community. The next thing that sharing stories helps us do is it helps us to realize that we don't live in a box. Our faith, our spirituality, our intellectuality, our belief systems are not just something that is filed away. You know, they usually say, don't discuss politics and religion in polite company. Well, I don't ever pay attention to that, right? I mean, some of you don't either. And that's fine, it's your choice. But the idea is that when we tell stories, we realize we're not alone. And that's part of, I'll get to this in a minute, the mission of why we exist. We have a multi-dimensional set of missions in this congregation and in the UU in general. But one of the reasons is because there are people that are searching for something more. I think I've said it before that one of the mottos of a congregation that I used to pastor was, come, be part of something greater. We're better together. A wise person once said that. And we realize that each one of us, our struggles, our belief systems, our doubts are not just present within us. And there are other people that share those things. And here we are. And I know it's hard to believe, but we may actually not agree with each other about some of those things. But here we are, right? All together. We do not live in a box. We live in a community. The next thing, and this is something that I know is quite important to many of you, if not all of you, is that stories and telling those stories, sharing some of the innermost things with each other, creates healing. I know that when I was a chaplain in a nursing home, some of the younger chaplains that were there, because I went to seminary a little later in life, but some of the seminarians were 22 years old, and I was like, okay, I'll do this. But they did not really appreciate going into these rooms and hearing the people telling the same story every time you go in. But you know, just like watching a movie multiple times, I often, if I just let the Spirit guide my listening, I often would learn something completely new the next time I went and heard the same story for the 20th time. Because that's just how the heart works, and that is a process of healing. Not healing to stop the process of aging, but healing because some people just really need to be heard so that they realize that they don't live in a box and that they are connected with another human being in an otherwise isolated, sometimes, existence. Because healing is what sharing stories can bring. It can bring healing in ways that we can't even possibly imagine sometimes. Like, we come together and say, you know, I just wish that there was a group somewhere that really loved to go out and clean up trash in the environment. And then somebody else says, you know, there is some place. I'm a part of that. Do you want to join and be a part? All of a sudden, goes back to connection. So these 4 points are all interrelated, you see. That wasn't on accident. But the idea is that healing happens from sharing stories, not just because we might be healed individually, but by community healing and by the healing of the earth, which is obviously very vastly needed. In the final, I'm trying to make this as short as possible so we have time to share your stories, because I'm talking about stories, right? The final thing that I'll talk about when we share stories is mission. I mentioned this just a tiny bit earlier, was that our mission is multidimensional. Our mission here is not just one mission. One of the missions, and I know missions sometimes make people nervous. The next word I'm going to say might really make you nervous, evangelize. But we have a different kind of evangelism, right? One part of our mission is to say, yes, there's a place like that. There's a place that you can belong. If you've had doubts, if you don't really agree with going to some sort of religious community that says you have to believe this way, otherwise you're going to go to hell. There is a place that loves you just the way you are, and not only loves you just the way you are, wants you to thrive, and wants to hear your story and help you transform in ways that you want to be transformed. That's part of our mission. And just as I had briefly mentioned as well, the idea of mission is not just individual. Yes, we invite people to come in and be a part because they may not feel as if they belong anywhere else. But also, by coming together, part of our mission then is, hey, do you have a passion about getting people registered to vote? We have people that do that here. You the vote. Do you have a passion about collecting clothing for people that need clothes to stay warm in the winter? We have a group that does that. Because then that same individual kind of, mission moves to the next collective mission, which is we're all here for multiple reasons, and one of the reasons is to change the world, which is one of my favorite phrases, if you hadn't already noticed, right? In fact, I remember when I was a 7th grade teacher, this is when Twitter was very different and safe. And we used to give our homework to seventh graders by Twitter. And it's ironic, but back in those days, Twitter was hot for the seventh grade middle school kids, and so they literally would do their homework only because we put it on Twitter, because that's cool. You know, whatever it takes, right, to get kids to do their homework. But the idea is all of the kids knew by the end of that seventh grade year that they were capable of changing the world. Because I said it to them every day, sometimes multiple times a day, and I tweeted it every day, sometimes multiple times a day. And the voice of the Spirit moves through the congregation through the sounds of children. That's a sermon for a different day. I could go on and on and on about that. So stay tuned for that one. But I'm saying that because I believe that as we come together continually and share our stories with one another, not only are we forever changed and transformed, but we can move together to transform the world in ways that we have not even yet begun to imagine. May it be so.
Happy about that.
So, the music that I'm going to play, I hope that it takes you to your favorite place of water and bring you renewal and healing.
So, in lieu of our traditional reflection, what I'd like to do is invite you to share snippets of your story by pouring water, or just pour water in silence and let your story vibe through the air. And then I'll go last.
Okay, I'll start. So, this is representative water of the water that was used to make the champagne that we toasted Emily and her new husband at their wedding.
I'm indecisive. So. Well, I had two really cool experiences. Well, actually three. And I didn't bring that one. Dawn and I went up to visit an eco-village in Sandstone. And we thought as we were driving home we should have grabbed water out of their pond because that was really interesting. But in lieu of looking for better ways to live and more ecologically minded stewardship for the earth, that's what this community is all about. It's really interesting and you can go up there and visit. So I want to mention that on behalf of Dawn, who isn't here today. And this is from Lake Chaminade, which kind of in line with the eco-village is a lake that's been kind of important in my family for a long time. You don't want this whole thing in there, do you? It's a lot of that. I got some water out of that lake a few years ago and gave it to my sister, and she still has it, and it's not squirmy or anything in there. It's really so clean. This is a new one, though. And this one is from the Amnicon River, so it's a little different colored, but it's really from the river, and the Amnicon River is a little river up in Superior that my son built a log cabin on. And so that's been an interesting adventure, skinning trees and cutting notches. Important.
Now this is water from the Horseshoe Lake where we have our cabin. And then yesterday it had just finished raining. There's some in the rain gauge and some puddled in our fire pit cover. So I added that in as well as the stuff. And the bottom might be a little indicator of some things that we might also be doing there. So.
So this water, I believe I got from members in this community. I had a cute little witchy box that I got that includes some of this water. I think it's really cool to return it a little bit and kind of join this one, right? The big one? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
As many of you know, we were in Glacier National Park a couple weeks ago, and we went on a tour of going to the sun. We went up going to the Sun Road, so we stopped at a beautiful lake, Lake McDonald. So this represents a good, clear, pristine lake. And even though the water's not from the lake, we purchased this piece of pottery up there because there's huckleberries are the thing up there. Huckleberry everything. So.
This is the remnant of the water from our adventure to the Renaissance Fair yesterday.
This symbolizes the water of the, when I went to Denmark in June and studied the forest kindergartens there. And we were right on the beach, our hotel was. And there's a forest kindergarten that we call a sea kindergarten because they're right on the water every day. The kids are outside all day long and they go in the water and it's just amazing.
So this is some water from the pond on the back 4 acres of our property. It's been a really crazy ride, but I feel like it's just beginning. Wow.
In the interest of water conservation, I want you to do something for me. I want you to stop rinsing your dishes before you put them in the dishwasher. Keep that rubber spatula rubber spatula handy, and scrape instead. And your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren will thank you.
Well, I didn't bring any water, so I'll use something picture. It represents Big Sandy, where our seasonal cabin is, and after 30-some years, it's time to close it up for the season. We'll miss it very much.
This is my favorite water, and it's sparkling water. And before I came to the States, I never knew water can taste like that, because that was not a thing in China. So this is the joy. The water brings me more. I literally drink more water because of the sparkling water. And also I want to express the gratitude, because right now still in China, tap water is not drinkable.
Could somebody pour some for me?
Yes, we will.
Thank you. Water is important in my life. I have some kidney issues and I'm supposed to drink lots and lots and lots and lots of water. So luckily it's available to me. And also, the Atlantic Ocean is significant because one daughter lives on the western side of the Atlantic and the other daughter lives on the eastern side of the Atlantic. So, thank you.
Okay, well, as some of you already know, because I used this last year, this is probably the only time you'll see on a UU table holy water. This isn't Roman Catholic holy water, it's Episcopal holy water, and it probably still has a tiny, tiny essence of the water that came from the Jordan River in Israel that my bishop at the time had collected, and then I just keep adding a little bit of water once it gets down lower and lower and lower. And I just like to add it at the end. I'm not really that superstitious, but I just think it's really cool. So this is a blessing for all of our stories, both spoken and unspoken. Apparently the floor needed some blessing too. May our stories bring us together and send us out, just like living water. I would invite us to stand as you are able and join us in our closing hymn, number 100. And the verses have...
We are going to, I'll play through it, and then we'll sing verses 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll sing verse 1 again, and then that's it.
1, 2, 3, 1. Oh, that sounds like it.
1, 2, 3, 1.
tambourine next year. Hopefully it doesn't scare you. And so as we move from this place in the spirit of living water, I invite us to keep sharing our stories, even after service in a circle with Alice and beyond, so that our collective story can continue to be transformed, and therefore we can do what? Change the world. Go in peace. Please be seated for the postlude. Please join us for treats, my favorite time after, and also feel free to stay and join Alice
In my circle.
in her circle. Be a part of Alice's circle, her story. And see you next Sunday if you can make it. Thank you.
Allison Circle.
Circle your wagon.
Bring your spatula. Your partner didn't make it. Thanks for coming.
Well, you know, Mom, we have never poured it. We just always went and dumped it in the sink. Never thought of putting it in the ground. I think if anywhere in the flower bed out here would be appropriate.
It looks like it needs some water.
Watch out for the flower procession.
Oh, no. It's holy water.
Bryan, for anybody who cares, take it.
No thanks, Jim. I'm not that superstitious.
Nice circle, you guys.
It was a little bump, but it big reaction.
She was crawling and on her face. Like normally when she does that, she does it back up.
Eating water is
Clearly something's
gorgeous.
going on.
Yeah, I don't think.
That was wonderful.
I love that song.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
I had to show up.
Your brother, but they do. That's my son. They're used to going to you. He's 4 years.
It's not super big.
This is my brother Tom from Vermont. Class of 76, my brother, my son, is better.
There's a full series for starting sometime in the 70s, early 80s. But it's been going every Wednesday since then. And we go Usually when I get around there, we start number 6. Always like, Thursday morning at a hurricane, just like over near my One of the things I want
Look, you can see the candles. They burn down to like where the sand is, and then it's
I've got several copies of that.
Yeah, see what time back in it's Tuesday morning. Okay. I will also send you my schedule so we can fly that day.
So every like Sunday morning, so just a week of.
There's a lot of people watching.
My record player. Like every like spring, every year he'd do a film, which was fun. But because when we had like 10 people in the spring dinner, it's just all we see is we're able to draw. My draw number was not high.
Somebody in favor of the line I read that says, nobody ever chased their logo up in the signs or on their sign. But it feels good to say, I think what it is. You know.
Yeah, especially